Good afternoon, friends. I'm Stephen Benoon with my wife Yana Benoon, and we have a few updates for you guys. And later this evening, we will be coming back with more information. Also, don't know if it'll be today or tomorrow, we are going to be loading a video on Patreon about the plans of the globalists and what they have in store for us. Yana, take it away.
Yes, and later we'll come back here and we want to talk to you a little bit about these masks that are mandated everywhere, why they're mandated, and what's really going on with those masks mandates. But I think that was very important, Steve, to bring to people's attention some very uneasy, shocking things that are happening today in the United States. DCFS kidnaps child from home because the parent had COVID-19. Now, that is from June 27, 2020. But if you remember, there was this bill, HR 6666. Everybody was debating whether this is going to pass or not pass. Is it legal? Is it not legal for government to do that? After all of this, when people were awakened to the fact that there is such a bill, 6666, that was to mandate to take children away from home, basically the government said, well, that was false, fake news, and it didn't pass and it's not true, right?
Right, they were really downplaying it, and several of our viewers had also said to us in comments that this was all false. Nothing ever happened about it. It wasn't true. Basically, Trump's not going to let it happen.
Right. And a lot of people think that we are still safe, but look what's happening here. The LA County Department, that's in California, of Children and Family Services successfully convinced a judge to remove a child from home because his parent tested positive for COVID-19. Now, tested positive, not that his parent had any symptoms.
And this
or
is
was
what
sick.
bothers me. You know how many how many news clips they show people, they come on and, yeah, I just tested positive of COVID-19, and yet they don't even have a sniffle, a cough, a scratchy throat, or anything. And I'm like, I'm totally blown away by this nonsense, how they really take this completely out of proportion.
Yes, and a lot of reports that tests are coming back as false positive as well, and they're contaminated with virus itself. So basically, Children and Family Services take a child from a parent because parent tests positive. That already happened in United States. Let's read about this a little bit. Today, in Dependency Court Madness, LA County Department of Children and Family Services recommended that the court remove my client's child from their physical custody after the parent tested positive for COVID-19. This is a non-offending parent. The judge ruled in favor of DCFS and detained. Let that sink in. DCFS is asking for children to be removed from their parents' custody due to COVID-19, despite the parent making the appropriate arrangements for their child. The family is currently filing an appeal, a writ of habeas corpus, to have their child returned. There are reports of other attorneys in Los Angeles area facing similar challenges. So how much contact tracing and family separation are you going to put up with? No agency has the authority to remove a child from their private home because someone in the household is sick.
Let me make a comment on this, Yana, because I was speaking and I've shared with people since last year that they were going to separate families and they were going to genocide this nation.
Yes.
That was from Israeli intelligence that I was getting this. Now, I had no clue that it would be under the guise of a COVID-19 pandemic or plandemic, that this would actually occur. But that's exactly what we're seeing. And before you know it, we're also going to have a war in the Middle East with Iran. You're going to see that kick up. Then we're going to see the U.S. attacked, and then even more separation of family and children. So these things are definitely coming. It's going to be a tidal wave of different things that are going to happen over the next year or so that's just going to completely blow away the minds of the people. And let me just say this as well. Keep in mind, as these things are happening, always remember there is an EMP attack coming. There is going to be a failure of the electrical grid. All this is staged operations. So those of you that keep your guns secured inside of these electronic safes that they have so conveniently given us, secure your guns in a different way. Use trigger locks or something of that nature instead. You know, if you have children at home, I should say. I guess if you don't have children, I don't think that applies in most states, but I would really be using a little bit of wisdom on this, because I keep thinking about people that have electronic safes and then they do this EMP attack or whatever with all these things that they have planned for us. The next thing you know, hey, guess what? You have no way to defend your family.
Right. Now, this tracking, isolating, testing, tracking, isolating, that's not over. They're constantly hiring for people to be trackers, okay, tracers. So they are hiring people in thousands upon thousands, especially those who lost their businesses are signing up for this type of job. People are turning into Stasis. That's exactly right, like during Nazi Germany. Your fellow citizens, fellow Americans will be coming against you. Now, back to this article, it says here this is important to know for any information you give out about your family's health and travels can and may be used against you in a court of law. Due process forfeited. Okay? So basically, if you are going to test willingly and you give that information to the government, they will use it against you. Let's say that your test came out false positive. And even if you were positive, you're asymptomatic or anything, but even if you were symptomatic, okay, government has no business separating your family and dictating you that what kind of treatment you're gonna go for. Are you going to be 3 days in bed? Are you gonna take vitamin C, zinc, selenium, vitamin D? You know, they have absolutely no right to what they're doing, and they're using this COVID-19 to justify all kinds of atrocities and taking our freedoms away. Here is the New World Order. There is no more United States of America. And American people have given away their freedoms for false safety because they are afraid of a little virus, cold virus at that.
Well,
And of course, there is a lot of information, which is new for me as well, Steve, that this virus theory altogether, which I'm studying now. It's difficult when you were brainwashed that there are viruses, you know, but there is a lot of doctors and researchers coming out that there is not even possibility that you can get sick from virus, that these are exosomes. I'm still new at this, so I'm just kind of exploring this.
well, let me say this though. This nothing to do with that part there, but going back to the part about taking away the children, and you had mentioned that your own family members turning against you. It reminds me of the biblical verse where it speaks about that the daughter would rise up against the mother, the son against the father, and I can't say this is the fulfillment of that, but for sure, this whole pandemic was really orchestrated in such a way, and because of the mass media coverage in favor of a pandemic, calling it a pandemic, it is dividing families like never before. People that are educating themselves through alternative media, and then the families that educate themselves through the media itself, is causing a division in families like never before. And children that are adult children and they have older parents, or vice versa, the children are knowing what's going on, but the parents don't know what's going on and they're fearful. I can see truly where a lot of this is going to bring about family members turning against each other, turning in each other, your neighbors turning you in. All you have to do is go inside of a supermarket today, and 99% of the people are masked. If you're in a zone where it's required, the government has made it that way, and only 1% is unmasked, and everybody looks at that one person unmasked as if they are the traitors now and that they should be dealt with. Very troublesome times we're living in.
Right. Let's go back to this article. Hospital policies now dictate that fathers cannot enter the delivery room and attend their child's birth. An act of family separation that further conditions us to accept that children are property of the state. Not only that, Steve, but
they could go missing right after birth, and the father has no idea where the child has been taken.
well, mother has no advocate.
Exactly.
She's among brainwashed nurses and doctors that are following COVID rules, and she has no advocate in a most vulnerable position she is in, okay?
Yes.
But also, they're separating mothers from the newborn babies. You heard it correctly. They're separating mothers from newborn babies. Mothers in a hospital are checked for COVID. If they come up positive, even without symptoms, after birth, they will not allow her to hold a child. They take the child away from her for 14 days, okay, which is a form of torture. I am ex-midwife, and I actually wanted to talk about this, and I might still come and talk about this, how important is mother and child to be together immediately after birth. These first hours, first minutes, and first hours and first days of mother and child bonding is extremely important for the rest of the life of the child, okay? And they are separating them. So think twice about having your children in hospital right now, okay?
Yes.
Now, medical kidnapping has been going on for a long time, but it's now uglier than ever. Contact tracers are being deployed by the thousands by state governments. People going about their daily lives are being ordered to undergo home arrest and quarantine for merely crossing paths with someone who tested positive for COVID-19. Yes, you can get a text message that you have to stay home, and if not, then police will come to your, or authorities come to your house.
I think it's really, people should use a little bit of wisdom. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but use a little bit of wisdom.
Well, this article will tell them what to do.
Let me just say this here. You know good and well that if you're crossing paths with someone that could have been tested positive, how do they know you crossed that path? All right, think about it. What do you carry with you everywhere? All right, don't take it with you in those public places. Leave it in your car.
Yes.
All right, leave it in your car.
And
There you go. That's right. Archives the truth.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
And don't not volunteer for testing either, because you don't know. They might give you a faulty test, you come up positive, and they're going to cause havoc in your family and separate your family. Okay? So over here, no illness, not even slightest of symptoms are needed to impose arbitrary 14-day quarantines on innocent people. It is important to know that these are not evidence-based quarantines. Okay, when I was in a nursing school, in epidemiology, we studied you quarantine only sick people.
That's
only
right.
sick, and you can quarantine them in their homes, in a room. Okay, you don't have to separate families, and only sick and only for a few days, up to 2 weeks maximum. You don't quarantine just somebody who is asymptomatic and healthy people, and especially children. And this is an excuse. So government, this New World Order, satanic government, can do to us anything they want to. And if you cannot see that, which, I have family members that don't see that. And this is extremely frustrating.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And we told you guys already in advance, they were going to make it worse. They were going to say that it got completely out of control. Then they'll lock everything down. There's a lot of reasons for this, and we'll go into those things on another video, but there's a lot of reasons.
Yes, these are deliberate assaults on human freedom, attack on our right to associate and assemble These contact tracing efforts are dragnet breaches of individual liberty, conditioning everyone to believe that all people are by default biological sources of contamination and infection. Basically, we are the virus to them. Okay, you are being conditioned to be afraid of the human being next to you.
Exactly.
Even your own family members. So you are the virus, you are the enemy. Okay, completely against any common sense that we lived with all kinds of microbes for thousands of years. We survived. And all of this science is a false science. Everything is false that they tell you. Everything is opposite.
Well, you know, one thing I tell you as well that you might want to think about is if you're wearing a mask in public like that, get those little disposable ones on there and write a message to everybody else around you. Use your mask as a form of advertisement. The Israelis do it already, so.
Well, I do not wear a mask unless I'm totally forced to. Like last time in Costco, picking up my glasses, I was completely forced to have a mask.
Yeah,
Costco, and I was there with my daughter, and my daughter pulled the mask off from her nose just to her mouth, and a person selling the glasses in there turned to my 11-year-old daughter, and in a Nazi style, she told her, "Pull up your mask up your nose or leave." Just like you hear me. This is how they deal with you, fellow citizens. Okay? Before this so-called pandemic, she would probably ask, "May I help you? What can I do for you?" Well, right now it all turned around. Now it's a Nazi style. Now they're dictating to you how you behave, how you put your mask on. Okay? So everything is changing. Anyway, I get very angry talking about this, so I have to just kind of inform you really quick here. COVID increasingly being used to medically kidnap and traffic children. This is from today, June 30th, 2020. This past Friday, June 26, 2020, U.S. District Judge Dolly G. ordered the release of migrant children who are currently being held in ICE family residential centers due to fear of COVID-19 spreading. While this may sound like a good thing on the surface, it's not. Judge G not only ordered that the children be released, but not their parents or adult family members. She left the decision to release adult family members of the children up to ICE. This is particular ruling given the children have almost a zero chance of dying from COVID, while older adults with pre-existing conditions are most at risk. So if the children's parents or other adult family members are not released, where will the children go? So where will the children go? They are to go to non-congregate settings that include suitable sponsors. This is basically the foster care system, which we know is the main pipeline for supplying child sex slaves in child trafficking. So children coming across the border with no birth certificates and other documentation are ripe for child trafficking. And this was highlighted in a 2016 report by U.S. Senator Rob Portman, which showed just how widespread this is. Anyway, so they're taking, right now they're using this COVID on children that are immigrant children, poor children, single mothers, but it's coming to all of us.
Yes, they're always targeted, Yana. And of course, they want to also bring about maximum pain to you as Christians. And Christians are going to be targeted. They're already targeted. I mean, we're already seeing, and I really can't help but think when I say we're already seeing churches that are targeted. You have to remember, they have the clergy response team, and I think it was Dave Hodges that put out a message the other day. The clergy response team has been activated. They are now actively working with the government. So your 501c pastor is working with the government now. And so I've been wondering if they have not intentionally used some of these gatherings of the 501c and then turn around and say, "Oh, everybody was tested positive and look how horrible the Christians are." You know, this is insane what's going on. Absolutely insane. And I'm just absolutely blown away by the demonic things that are happening from this. And of course, I remember years ago I was listening to this old minister and he said, who's going to bring the problem on us? It's us. It's, in other words, it's the Christians. It's those that claim to be Christians that are going to bring the problems on the believers, because Satan has entered in to the flock. The wolves have entered in, and now the sheep are at a major risk.
And I think it was Dave Hodges, I think I have the name right, who just reported yesterday or day before yesterday that this FEMA
Yes, it was Dave Hodges on the Common Sense
yes,
show.
clergy response team have been activated now.
That's what I just said.
And Fauci was saying, Steve, that they are working on influencers, on people who are non-government people, like favorite actors, and in my opinion, influencers are also pastors, and he's talking about training influencers to re-educate people that vaccines are safe and effective.
And they're already doing it, Yana.
Right.
They're out there blasting it away on their public little platforms out there, telling the sheep, oh, it's okay to take the vaccine, even though they're sitting there saying as plain as day, you can't buy, you can't sell, you can't return to the economy. Hello, let's wake up, human beings. Let's wake up, Christians. If you can't buy or sell unless you take this vaccine, it may not be the mark of the beast, but it's doggone sure close to it.
Right. So here we go. Let's go back to this article. The author of the article has some advice. Do you want to protect your children from medical kidnapping? Do not get tested for COVID and avoid the medical system.
Exactly.
Yes, as much as possible. And I know some people it's impossible because people have diabetes and all kinds of illnesses, and you are on medications, and that's almost impossible. Some people with kidney failure have to check their blood work every 3 months. So it's kind of impossible, but it's unfortunate, Steve, because today when you give them your blood, or they will force you to take this COVID test, and now you're vulnerable to their abuse.
Yes.
Based on that COVID test.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, as much as you can, take care of your health, vitamins, minerals, sleep, meditate upon Lord Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Upon kingdom that we are already part of. So because stress and fear can really affect your health. And try not to go to doctor. Reach out to holistic medicines, herbs, okay, vitamins, minerals. Make sure you drink a lot of greens like chlorophyll that cleans your body. And a lot of those type of techniques will take care of itself. Your health will improve. And you will not need these doctors. Now, let's keep going. We have been warning America for over 5 years now that medical kidnapping is real and threatens every family in the United States. Well, the satanic pedophile system behind this is kicking things up a notch with COVID, and a situation is about to get much, much worse. Okay. Article mentions how children are not at risk to contract COVID, and they take on a far greater risk of dying by simply riding in an automobile. So there is absolutely no reason to separate children from the family. The best way to try and avoid this is to abstain from using medical system completely. Do not get tested for COVID. If they take a cotton swab sample from your mouth or a blood test, they now have your DNA that can be recorded in a database, and you can be subject to contact tracing. This is what,
and more, as Celeste Solomon said as well.
Celeste said that why they force this worldwide testing of every man, woman, and child is that they're collecting our DNA. Well, but the best policy is that you leave your cell phone at home and turn it off. So don't take it to the stores. Don't take it anywhere with you. Leave it home. Leave it in the Faraday boxes
Wrap
or a
it up in
Mylar
tinfoil.
bag, simple Mylar bag, okay? Children shouldn't carry a cell phone around in any circumstances and avoid medical system as much as possible. Okay, now the article also mentions how black people, people of color, are in more danger. All right, it says, and unfortunately, statistics show that poor people of color face a far higher risk of having their children taken away from them as they have very little means to fight back. Now, this was today, it happened yesterday, actually, yesterday or today, maybe yesterday. This was on a Twitter account, how they took this child from a black mother simply because they walked without shoes. And mother ended up in a psychiatric ward, Steve.
Oh
Well,
my
let's see what they did to her.
Like, what is going on, man? Yeah, this shit's wild.
Sorry for the
Bruh.
language. They
You
took,
can't be serious right now.
they're taking her children.
I can't believe I'm witnessing this shit.
Yep, there you go. Snatching the children away.
Look in what way they're doing it too. Here in Tampa, Florida.
And you wonder why the parents fight back? I mean, this is insane. Insane. And why would police even stoop to this low point to take someone's children away?
Okay.
Unreal. Unreal.
Anyway, later I would like to return to masks in a different broadcast, Steve. But I just wanna, at the end of this broadcast, I want to play the sheriff. Okay, where was that? Washington sheriff urges residents to defy mask order. Don't be a sheep.
Oh, God bless
Now
him.
that's nice, very nice. However, when we had these lockdowns, actually sheriffs were helping and detaining people. Okay,
Well,
so
that's
they
not
need to
all
wake up
sheriffs.
first. Not all sheriffs, but police in general were detaining people and violating our constitutional rights. So I hope they're waking up now and seeing what is happening.
Well, let's go-
but
let's
anyway,
listen to what he
this
said.
particular sheriff here was warning people.
In case you guys didn't hear, Governor Inslee, in his infinite wisdom, has decided after over 100 and some odd days that we should all wear face masks inside and out. Here's what I say. Don't be a sheep.
Then he hands it to the guy with the mask on.
Good to see you again, Rob.
Yeah, so you will just see now how people love him for that. Well, that was very nice. And, you know, I saw a comment, most police are Freemasons. Some are and some are not. They're good and bad apples in that
Yes,
position.
yes.
I mean, I know Steve has family. He was a policeman in a past and he is a family member. His uncle who was a policeman his whole life. And I met him personally. And I can tell you that there are very good policemen out there that really mean well. And they are really there for the sake of the people and Constitution. But there are also, of course, very bad eggs, and they did join the ranks of the Freemasons. That's very
Yeah.
true. And even his
Many
uncle,
sheriffs are, that's true.
right? And his uncle did tell us that that is very true, and they're kind of like they know that this is happening. So yes, there is bad and good apples there. But anyway, I originally had something about Noahide laws. It's kind of breaking stuff that
Let's
I need
go ahead,
to
let's
show
cover
you.
this. Let's cover it then.
Are
Let's
we going to
try-
cover this here
Let's
or
do it.
separate broadcast because it's kind of totally different thing?
It's up to you then.
I think we should cover this separately.
Okay.
And so we will come back later and do 2 more broadcasts, one on masks, one of these Noahide laws, and then third one on Patreon, where we're going to
Okay.
go through 17 plans that they have against us, the World Economic Forum has against us as humanity, what is on their plate and what is awaiting us. So anyway, I think I would end with that, Stephen.
Okay. Thank you.
Back to
Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you so much. We love you, and God bless you. Listen,
We love you too. It says Kitty says, I love you, Stephen, Yana. We love
Thank
you
you.
too.
and listen, I know that, you know, everywhere you go, they always say, you know, oh, stay safe, you know. Well, we always like to say stay armed, but I don't know what we should say on that. We'll leave that alone. Anyway,
Yes.
God bless you though. Keep your mind on
bless you.
Jesus Christ. Stay prayed up. That is the most important thing you can do. Educate yourself about the things that are going on, because we are truly living in the final hours
Yes.
of humanity on this earth, and we want to have everything in order.
You know, I don't want to argue here about any kind of doctrines, but I personally believe that Satan has been released, because this is hell on earth.
Yeah.
And what's coming, it's even worse. I mean, they have it covered from every area. It started with COVID. We will prove it to you on Patreon. They had it all pre-planned. And it started with COVID, okay? But they have a weather weapon technologies. They're planning in the name of climate change, of changing every area of our life. Life as we know it is gone.
Yes.
It will be gone very soon. And there is certain steps we can take, but the most important step is your spiritual step, to be very close to Jesus, and especially realize that our kingdom, his kingdom, is not from this earth. It's not up here, and we are going to him.
Yes. So thank you for watching. God bless you, and good day. I got to figure out where, here it is. Got to find the turn off button. Oop, now I got to end it somehow. Can I reach in there and do it? Nope. Well, y'all are going to get shook up a little bit, so here we go.